be making a simple bookbinding project. It's called paper cut. Okay, come closer. For our materials, we will be using pieces of bond paper, is padding glue, and for the hard covering of our paper pad, this is a folder. Meanwhile, for our materials, we will be using a pencil, a cutter, a straight edge. No, it could be a triangle like this or the typical ruler, and then this is the binding clamp, which is usually basic for those who are into bookbinding. So the first step is for us to use the pieces of bond paper, and then it's up to you to decide on the size. No, but in our case, we will be cutting the paper into quarters, no, which means to say 1/4 of the bond paper. So usually I just fold it like this for the first one, and then also for the other edge, somewhere in the center, and then I usually mark just to give me the clear marking which to cut. No? So after doing that, I'm gonna put it on. You should be using this one, no, to protect the table from the blade, no, accidentally sometimes. Or for me, I will be using only a folder. But if you could find something thicker like illustration board, no, or a used plywood, that can also be. So just simply place the paper on top and then the straight edge, and this is the part where we're gonna cut the paper. So just a reminder, our cutter can sometimes become dull the more you use it. So in this case, we will try to demonstrate how to cut the used blade so that it will have a new cutting edge, no, by cutting. So you simply have to do the align the. Usually all cutters have this ending part, and then there's a slot. Only this just to align the line with the cutter, and make sure that you are not facing someone. No, so you have to face the wall, and you should see that. So this is the cut part of the cutter, and you should dispose this properly. Okay. So we'll go back again to our work. Part of the cutter. Okay. So in cutting, we need to make sure that you maintain a angle, not too high, not. I mean, the closer, the smaller the angle, the better for you to cut. You don't have to put too much pressure. No, what's important is the uniformity of your pressure all throughout, and you simply place the paper until you have reached the last piece of your paper. So the moment that you're already approaching the last part of the paper, you have to a bit not to add or put too much pressure on the paper. So that's it. Continue cut. This is the part where we cut, right? So the technique is for you to gather them together by making sure you to fold that This will serve as a backing of our paper pad. So you could just get maybe from one corner over here, and and the other side as well. Let's try to use a ruler this time. Maybe you don't have triangles with you, so just use a ruler. You just have to align the paper along with so we completely cut the paper away. Sometimes for me to protect the back portion of this not to be smeared with a padding glue, I would usually cut this part and then I will place it somewhere here. So that's it. I'll actually align already the paper. So this is the part where we will be applying the padding glue. So this is our adhesive to make all these pieces together stick, as a paper pad. So you have to crease or something like scrape the upper part with your cutter just to make it rough, for more absorption of the padding. Okay. So if you have a clamp like this, so we'll just be opening this one. So this is a wing nut. This is just an improvised clamp. We will be doing this again the moment that classes will be face to face. And then you have to place the paper pad inside, making sure that it's aligned. There, it's already aligned. And then place it at the center so that there's a uniform pressure on both sides of the wing nut. And you just close it like this. But since you don't have maybe a clamp, a bookbinding clamp with you, then you could just maybe place the paper at the edge of the table and have something like a heavy thing to be placed on top. So after that, you just have to make incisions, light incisions only, so that this will add more strength to your paper pad. Okay? You have to make sure that everything is covered by those little cuts that you're making. So this is the chemical that we'll be using. It's colored something like pink, but the moment it becomes dry, it turns into red, just like your paper pad when you were in elementary. Okay, so this one is also improvised. If you have your brush with you, then you could use that as well. So we will apply now the padding glue. So you have to do it very uniformly, evenly spread the glue to your paper pad. So normally we have to let this dry out for minutes only, especially if the weather is like this. It's summer, so the drying time will be very shorter. If you have also a dryer or hair dryer, you can also use that to speed up the drying process. Okay, so you don't need to make it very thick because we will be adding another coating for this. Okay, so that's it. It's okay that it will a bit smear at the end because we placed a while ago a scratch paper. So we will be letting this to dry now for a while, and then we'll just be going back later. Okay, so we will be adding more. Okay, so we will be waiting until such time that the glue will dry up. Okay, the padding glue has dried up. We're going to remove that in the clamp. Okay, so we will unscrew the wing nut and then we're gonna remove the paper pad. So by the way, if you don't have the clamp with you can also use books, no? To, let's say you're already done cutting the paper, maybe you could just put the book there, and then as usual you could put the padding glue on one edge of the paper. Okay, so that could be your remedy if you don't have this improvised binding clamp. Okay, so the next step is for us to remove to straighten the uneven edges of our paper pad. In doing so, we need the triangle to make sure that the side is square. Okay. So I usually just place the triangle there in one side, and then maybe you could make it. Usually it's just like 1/8 of an inch for me. You could not cut very near to the edge of your paper because that will make it difficult to continue cutting. So after doing it's about time for us to cut. So in cutting again, you have to maintain the same pressure, applied all throughout the whole length of the paper. Okay, make sure that it's still 90 degrees. Your angle should be like 90 degrees plus, and your cutter should be very sharp. Okay, so slowly but surely. Okay. So once you are done with one side, so it's already straight. We're gonna proceed to the next side, and we will still be following the same step. We are using the triangle so that we can ensure that the paper pad is square. Now because if you will just be using this, there may be a tendency that it will not be square. Okay? So the triangle is a good partner really for this simple project of ours. So you just mark maybe, and then you will use the straight edge of your triangle. But you could still use this one. Let's try this one for this activity. So you have to be careful as well in using the cutter because this is very sharp. So you will have to do it very slow. With uniform pressure. The cutter should be sharp, so that it would be easy for you to cut all throughout, those uneven edges or the uneven edge of your paper pad. So after you're done, so remove. This is the last part, the bottom part of your work. Still, you need to use your triangle to make sure that it is square. Okay, mark, and then do the whole process again. So we are almost done, and then the last step that we are going to do is just to remove this the scratch part that we placed earlier, and then the other side as well. So putting this will ensure that this part of your project will be neat, free from smear of the padding glue. Okay, so this is done. Your paper pad is already done. So this is very good also for, let's say, you have a lot of scratch papers at home, so you could turn the clean part on one side and then do the paper pad on the other side. It's also very important that after you are done with your work is to do simple housekeeping. Of course, you have to throw this properly on the proper waste bins or waste bag. Okay? So this is the project, our paper pad. Thank you very much for listening. And don't